with Nesty afterwards. Apparently, you know, there is still a small window for Nesty to make it, but for now we are just going to jump into this game because the players, you know, they were waiting for quite a while and then we gave them the go-ahead and now they fired up the game.
Just to bring everyone up to speed on what's going on, Nesty was disqualified from his first map against WCS, so he does have another block of time before he's disqualified from the second map that he could show up for. So until then, he's not officially disqualified, but in all likelihood, he will be because it does not look like he's going to be coming to play these games today.
You know what I think is funny, Ben? That yesterday we were sitting in Ice Hockey Stadium and today we're sitting in the Sahara Desert.
I much prefer the Sahara Desert. I think it is so much more comfortable in here today than it was. It was so cold yesterday, Kev.
Anyways, I want to go ahead and introduce our amazing players. We got probably a very good best of 3 ahead of us, Ben, between two of the best North American StarCraft players that we have in this day and age. Over here on the left top side of the map, we got Root for Root State, who opened up with a 1-gauge fast expand, as we can see.
State has become so good in the North American scene. I think he's probably top 5 in A.
I agree. I mean, if you win the American Championship, you are most likely top 5 in A, no? I mean, of course, a couple of the big names you could have said were missing here and there, but well.
Yeah. Anyway, State's opponent down in the bottom right-hand corner of the map, the blue Terran player. He is Neeb.
Everyone had a fair chance back then to participate in Shoutcraft America, which was an amazing tournament. State was able to win that. No, actually, State lost in the final. Sorry, guys. I was just kind of on autopilot mode as he lost against Kane in the final.
I was a little confused. I was like, what is Roddy referencing? He must know exactly what he's talking about, so I'm just not going to question it.
Were you aware of the fact I was wrong?
I was trying to think of what tournament you were talking about that State won, because I'm not recalling
Okay,
one.
well, he made it to the final, made it to the offline final in New York. He got flown out and played a good series. I think the score was 4-2 in favor of Kane.
I could not possibly cite that correctly. I don't have the Roddy memory.
Did you watch it, man?
I think so. It was right before WCS, right?
Yes, WCS round of 16 broadcast season 1.
Yeah.
Or it was the round before we actually made the trip to New York.
Correct.
Anyways, Ben, I think we should focus a little bit on the game as well. As you know, we should try to keep a close eye on the build order, see if one of these guys is doing something spectacular. And even though this is not very spectacular, this is already interesting. State going 1-gauge Robo and then also following up with a Forge. So most likely we'll focus heavily on upgrades early on.
Neeb has gone, I think that's a 1 racks FE and the 3 racks is what it looks like he's done. And we see him just starting his stim upgrade, sitting back, very passive and defensive. But with 3 barracks of production, he'll be able to get out on the map pretty soon.
He has a lot of Marines on the map already, and if he keeps pumping out Marines like this, with 9 Marines, 1 Marauder, or maybe 3 additional Marauders, I actually think he might be able to put on some early pressure as soon as Stim finishes up, or even slightly before this. And considering the fact that State has been opening up relatively greedy, he might create a window of opportunity for himself, man, to pick off a few probes here and there.
Yeah, and we do see him crossing the map. I don't know what has set Neeb off, what has queued him up to make this movement through the middle of the map, but his instincts are correct, Kev. This is definitely a golden opportunity to force a photon overcharge and maybe kill a handful of probes.
Yep. Mothership Core is here, as you can see, that easily has enough energy for a photon overcharge. But, you know, the State also knows if he photon overcharges immediately, which is exactly what he does, Stim wasn't even ready at this moment. So now Neeb is probably going to say, you know what, I'm going to keep my units here, wait until your photon overcharge runs out, and after that I might be able to do something. And even if I'm not Ben, at least I'm going to force out a couple of gateway units that you would have probably rather waited with.
Yeah. Twilight Council now going down for State. He is looking like he wants to play that upgrade gateway-centric style this game. 4 more gates going down for State as well. So his production is about to go bonkers. The first starport also finishing up for Neeb. So once his medevac production begins, he'll really be able to start taking some map presence.
Yeah, and then I really wonder if he's going to be able to find a couple of openings in State's defenses here and there. Taking a look at the production count, we see our State already having 3 observers out on the map, and he has 4 of them. And you know, Ben, before I went to WCS Season 3 finals, I would say, like, I love this from State. If you're relying on gateway units to defend, just make as many observers as you possibly can. You know, 3, if 4 is, you know, maybe the maximum amount, but 3 is obviously very good. You can get 1 over here, you can get 1 over here somewhere at the south side, then either 1 in the middle of the map or on the other side of the map. But then I watched Deer, who just somehow, someway took absolutely 0 damage from non-stop dropping while only having a single observer out on the map. That made me think again, like, hey, if I don't need that money to make observers, I could do something better with it. But well, we will see how that unfolds.
Here comes Neeb with his second little poke. There is, again, enough energy for a photon overcharge. Again, it gets used immediately, and again, he doesn't really kill anything.
This is still good though, because now he's going to wait for those medevacs to make their way across the map, and then when he can start dropping, State is going to need to defend with gateway units and gateway units only, as he's not going to have any Colossi, he's not going to have cannons, at least not now, and he definitely won't have a photon overcharge.
This is a little observer party over here. Two of them in the same spot. They double detect.
Couple of force could go down and actually zone out a couple of these Marines, because he's afraid to take that fight.
Yeah. Warp Prism on the way right now for State. He's become very good with his Warp Prism play, often spreading his opponents out and just dropping and being active in multiple places on the map. Oh, Stalker's in a good spot. Great observer positioning once more, just to underscore what you were talking about, Kev.
I wonder kind of where State wants to take this, man. He has a lot of gates now. He's like on 7 or even... actually, it's just 5 gates. No, yeah, it is 7 gates. I was like, I could swear he had 2 additional gates. So he's on 7 gates, he's on 46 probes, and he's not making any additional probes. And he's showing us no signs of going up to 3 bases. Okay, now he's going back to probing. Just when I said so. Still, I'm not sure how big of a fan I am of this build of State, because I feel like he's putting himself in a defensive position, while he's not even outmining his opponent or anything like that. Yes, he will have good upgrades. Yes, he will have Storm relatively quickly. But still, he's also putting himself in a position where I'm going to need to make something happen real soon. Because I'm still on 2 bases, you're already on 3.
Neeb's going to land this factory, making it a little bit trickier for State to find good engagements. This is cute play. Time Warp is going to go down. Zealots and Stalkers funneling through that small choke created by the factory, but State does have more than enough to push this back, and Neeb's cute little attack.
Reinforcements arriving though. Most of these Zealots are melting. The Mothership Core is going to fall as well. I actually think this is looking pretty #very dicey for State. He does have the Warp Prism on the other side of the map. Maybe a Storm Drop will land on these SCVs. But I think he's in a little bit of trouble, man.
Here's another Storm though. This High Templar is going to come forward, and with that Storm, Neeb is going to have to...
I love these Marauders. They're just like, So, how's the weather? Stormy? So?
I bought my rain jacket. Or something like that. As the army of Neeb continues to push forward. State's constantly warping in Zealots and other gateway units, and he does, at least for the time being, stabilize.
He's still losing a lot of expensive units as well. Stalkers are actually considered expensive units in this state of the game. Work account shows us 46 probes against 57 SCVs. Ben, Neeb has been outmining his opponent while being very aggressive throughout the entire game. I feel that Neeb's build has been very good against State's build, and State has been put in a pretty uncomfortable spot. The Warp Prism did really not do the damage that he was looking for on the other side of the map.
Yeah.
I mean, the Storm killed a handful of SCVs. Exactly a handful. No more than that.
And critically, Kev, the army supply of Neeb is reaching this critical mass. He's got 74 army supply against about 40. And of that 40 army supply, there are only 2 oh no, there's 6. Where are they?
Whoa. You could have stemmed in and killed that Nexus.
They're spread out all over the place. Either way, Neeb is going to push up into this 3rd base, and this building Nexus will be canceled. Killed! Wow. Not canceled. And Storm goes down, but hot pickup, and these Terran units will get out of there. And at the same time, another drop on the other hand of the map. And Neeb's playing out of his mind right now.
Neeb is playing very well, making it look easy, just kind of picking apart State, picking up a lot of probes over here. He is forcing another photon overcharge, so that's going to help to clean up this drop eventually, but not before dealing a critical amount of damage. What will this Warp Prism be able to do on the other side of the map? Storm is okay, picks off 5 SCVs once more, but that's just not the damage that State is looking for, man.
And this Marauder sticking around. Meanwhile, the drop on in the main base of Neeb does get dealt with. Again, at the 3rd, again it gets killed. A donation of 800 minerals now to the...
Alright, so there's basically one thing that Neeb has to do right now, and that is not die. Force field might land. Nope, it's a little too late.
Oh, it's a great Storm though, all over the bio, and every one of these units is gonna have a rough time, but still, the bio does manage to push down that ramp. Feedbacks will not be enough to stop this army from being cleaned up. Very well played by Neeb. Just a phenomenal first game.
Doubling the supplies right now, so that pretty much sells the entire till. Additional Zealots being wiped in. State doesn't want to leave just yet. He has High Templars, he does have +2 armor. Did +2 just finish up for Neeb? Yes, it did. Another Storm will land and deal a little bit of damage. Neeb's build was just better, man, from start to finish, forcing out those photon overcharges, putting State in a very defensive position. Also, you know, you have to question the 4 observers. Even though, yes, they are cheap, it's quite a bit of gas. Maybe you could have done something else with it to somehow be slightly more aggressive. Now 3 additional command centers at once going down. Storms will land and connect with a lot of these bio units, but then the reinforcements have arrived.
Yeah, State Storms have been great this game. Unfortunately, Neeb's just had so much more than him the whole time that it hasn't really mattered that much. 3 Archons, another good Storm, but look at all the bio here. Time Warp goes down. With Time Warp, Archons, and Zealots, then maybe.
The High Templars from behind. Oh man, a double Storm could have actually done a crippling amount of damage, as that Storm will connect with a lot of these units as well. Look at this one Archon. He's like, oh, I pretend like I'm healthy, but I'm not at all.
I got green HP.
It's so deceiving, these green HP Archons, because if this Archon would have been a very red Archon, I think these bio units would have immediately picked it up. But the green is always like, you never know. I mean, State's still hanging in there. He has +2 armor upgrades, doesn't really have any attack upgrades.
He's down 60 army supply.
Yeah, I know. I mean, this game is borderline over, but he's still trying, and I've seen crazier things in a game of StarCraft 2.
3 command centers at once. As Neeb begins to make his final march, double drop into the main base.
Storm is probably the best choice. He doesn't have Storm.
Yeah, feedback's not going to get it done. These units will unload and pick back up.
Will be unloaded again, otherwise this medevac is going to fall.
And while State's chasing this, the main army of Neeb is getting into position, setting up a big attack onto the natural. And more good Storms from State, but Kevin, when there's this much Terran, it doesn't really matter.
Time Warp could land on this entire bio army, and it will land. He needs to land some massive Storms, and he's trying, but there are just a few too many Marines and a few too many Marauders. All these Zealots will fall, and GG is called in game number 1. Man, Neeb made that look easy.
Yeah, phenomenal. I was expecting more of a clinic from State, to be honest.